Hi, I'm Wanda from Alanda Craft, and today I'm going to show you how to make a cushion cover with a zip. So let's get started and show you how to do it. So today I'm going to make a cushion cover for an 18-inch cushion insert. So if you have a cushion insert that's a different size, that's fine. Just go over to alandacraft.com and you'll find the sizes for different cushion inserts over there. Now what you're going to need is an 18 by 18 insert, and you'll need two pieces of fabric. Now our fabric measures 17 inches by 17 inches. I'm using the same fabric on the front and the back for my cushion, but you can use a contrasting colour on the back or contrasting fabric. It's entirely up to you. Now you're also going to need a zipper. Now I use these continuous zippers because I find they're really great, but you can use an ordinary zipper if you like, but you just need to have one that is at least 15 inches for this. If it's longer, that's fine. It doesn't matter how much longer it is because we are going to trim the zippers when we come to putting the zipper in. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay my two pieces side by side. Now I have a directional print, so I want to make sure that the print is going the same way, and the reason for that is because you want the wording or the pattern to be the same on the front as on the back. Now if it isn't directional print, it doesn't matter how you have it sitting. Now we also need to decide, once we have our print set out, where we're going to put our zip. Now we're going to put the zip in the bottom of the cushion, so we want it down this end here. As you can see in this one, I've put it in the top. I wasn't thinking what I was doing, and I put it in the top. It still works and it still looks fine, but they do look much neater if they're in the bottom of the cushion. So the first thing we want to do is, now that we've decided that this is going to be the bottom of our cushion, is we want to turn over a ½ inch at the edge on both pieces of fabric. So we're going to give that a good press, and we'll do it on both of them. So we'll do a ½ inch over here as well. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the ½ inch there pressed over nicely. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm actually going to press that out, not too severely, just gently, and I'm going to measure 2 inches from the edge, and I'm going to put a mark at the 2-inch mark. It's not critical, it doesn't matter if you're a little bit out. And I'll come to the other end, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So 2 inches and put a mark. So now what I'm going to do is turn this piece over, just pull the edge out a bit, and I still want to keep that nice crease. I'm going to put the two pieces together. Now I'm going to just line those edges up, so we want them nicely lined up. I'm just going to pop a pin in there, in the crease, and I'll come to the other end and do exactly the same thing, line up the ends, and just pop in a pin. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew from the edge to this line, and I'm going to backstitch at that line because we want to keep that nice and secure. And the same at this end, I'll just sew in to the line and then do a backstitch. Okay, so I've sewn my 2 inches on either side, and I've backstitched where the line was, and now I'm just going to open this, and you can see we've got an opening there, and that's where our zip is going to sit. Now what we need to do next is take our ruler, and we're going to measure 1 1/4 inches from the edge, and just put a line across there, and we're going to do the same at the other end. So we come in 1 1/4, and that's where the ends of our zip are going to sit. We don't want to take them any further out because we are going to be doing a ½ inch seam, and we don't want the ends of our zip to be caught into the seam. So now it's time to place our zip. As you can see, I have the zipper pull facing towards me. To turn it over, place it one end along the line I've drawn there, and I'm just going to pop a pin in there. And then I'll just place it along the edge. Come along here. Now make sure that your zipper pull is pulled down past this line, otherwise you're going to end up with no zipper pull. I'm just going to place that there, and I'm going to cut that. So that's why we also need to make sure our zipper pull is here, because once it's cut, it's very hard to get one on. Okay, I'm just going to cut. Cuts quite easily with your scissors. Pull those together, and I'm just going to pop a zip in there. Now I'll take this to the machine, and what I'll do is I'll backstitch across here a few times just to keep it stable, and then I'm going to sew along this edge. I'll backstitch over here, and I'll come down this end, and I'll finish with a backstitch. So I'm now going to backstitch across there. I can take that pin out. Just turn. Now the whole idea is to line that zipper tape up with the 1/2 inch on your turnover. Okay, so just sew along the end. You can just line it up as you go, and that's fine. Now when you get to your zipper pull, just lift your foot up. Here we go, it just makes it easier for sewing. And when I get to here, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to bring that round. Okay, so make sure your zip is together as close as can be. And then we're going to just turn around, and we're going to sew down the other side. Get near to the pull, lift the foot, and just do your zip up. And just finish with a back stitch. Okay, so my zip is now sewn in, and what we do next is we flip it over, and you can see how nice and neat that looks. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open the zip. Now this is a most important step, because for this step we must have the zip open, because otherwise you're not going to be able to turn your cover through once we sew it together. So to sew it together, we just simply match up our edges. Now I generally I'm going to do a 1/2 inch seam. I'll start with here I've got the zip folded over and that seam folded over. Start with the back stitch, and I'll go all the way down. I'll probably back stitch here, back stitch to start. It just strengthens those corners, because cushions get a lot of wear. Okay, back stitch here, back stitch and sew up here, and finish with a back stitch. So I'll go and do that now, and I'll just reiterate, keep the zip open. Alright, so I've now sewn around the edges. I started with a back stitched at each of the corners, and now I'm going to turn the cushion cover through. Remember, we left our zip open so that we could do that. So just quickly bring it through. Now I don't bother to clip the corners on cushion covers. You can if you want to. It does reduce some of the bulk in the corners. But because I don't have batting or anything like that, it's just the material itself, I don't tend to bother. Okay, and I'll just push the corners through. You can use a skewer and use the blunt end. You can see I have a sharp and a blunt end. Make sure when you're pushing corners through that you always use your blunt end. Otherwise you could come through your fabric. You can also use your scissors, but again you have to be very careful as well. You don't want to go tearing anything. Alright, we'll just give that a quick turn. I can fix this all up later. Alright, so now it comes time to add our cushion insert. And this can be a bit tricky at times too. So, let me fold it in half, just to get it in there. Okay, and push her out to the corners. And once we've got it in, of course you'll take your time to make sure that that's all sitting nicely. I've got it a bit all over the place at the moment. And you can just do your zip up. So there you are, we have our cushion cover all finished. Now how easy was that? And our zip looks nice and neat on the bottom, and the top looks nice and neat. So if you've enjoyed this tutorial, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to check out the written instructions over on alandacraft.com, and you can also follow us on Facebook and Pinterest.